Hello, hello, how are you all doing? Hope that everybody is well. Give me a wave if you're there, say hello. I hope your week is going well so far. So let's get started. Mobility warm up as always. So you just need a bit of space. If you start off standing up, hinging at the hips, get that stretch down the hamstrings, walk it out into a plank position. From your plank, take 1 foot forwards. So you want it to be roughly around where your hand is. And then let's do 3 circles in one direction. So imagine you're painting circles with your belly button onto the mat below you. 3 circles in the other direction. As you're going, you should be feeling a bit of a stretch through the hamstring there. But I also want you to think about gently drawing up the hip at the front on this back leg. So I'm getting a stretch at the front of the back leg. Okay? Take the leg back, swap it over. 3 circles on each side. So again, feeling that stretch through the hamstring, but squeezing the glute forwards at the back, drawing up the hip at the front, so we're getting a stretch at the front of the hip. Into the other direction. Lovely. From there, just into 4-point kneeling. If you've got a cushion, you might sort of stick it underneath your knees. Into 4-point kneeling, and then core engaged, taking one arm up towards the ceiling, give a good stretch through there, and then reach through. We're doing 3 more of those. Don't worry if your arm feels tight, it's more about this upper body rotation we're looking for. So if you just take the elbow up to the ceiling, that's fine, reach through. 2 more. So keep the hips facing down to the mat, hips are staying still. We're just looking to get some rotation through the upper back. 1 more. Last one. Lovely, same on the other side, so arm up, either arm or elbow up, and reach through, up, reach through, 2 more. So looking to get some good rotation into that upper back. We get our upper back so kind of stuck, just leaning over a computer, not using it all day. So we're just trying to get some nice mobility into that upper back. Lovely. From there, take 1 foot out in front of you, and then just lean back, toes in towards you. Just a few times, so we're feeling a stretch into the hamstring there. Good work, onto the other side. Toe in, a few more, just checking on the comments. Yay, just checking people are saying they're there rather than any technical problems, lovely. A few more. Lovely, from there, we're just going to stretch into your quads. If you have got a chair or something behind you, you can just hook your toe up onto a chair or a sofa or a bed, whatever behind you. If not, you can just hold on to that foot, but it takes a bit of balance. If you're doing that holding on, make sure that your feet or your knee and your foot are hip width apart, just to give you a good centre of balance there. And then you're drawing up at the front, squeezing the glute forward. So what we don't want to do is just get this stretch here, and if we imagine our pelvis is a bowl of water, we don't want to be tipping the water out the front of the pelvis. So we want to draw up at the front, pull back, and then see how close you can get the knee to the thing behind you and how close you can pull back. Don't worry if you can't. I would much rather you're keeping that neutral pelvis, that kind of flat bowl of water, rather than tipping the water out the front. So we're just squeezing, release, go for a few more, squeeze, release, and 1 more. So we're getting a good stretch. Down the front there, you might be finding it more in your hip, you might be feeling it more in the quad, depends where you're tighter. Lovely, swapping over. Check where your knee's gone down as you go back onto the other side. Often we make the mistake of thinking we're much tighter on one side than the other, but it's because our body knows we're tighter and it's moved that knee further forwards. So check if your knees are in the same place if you're trying to compare how tight you are on each side. So exactly the same, we're squeezing the glute forward, so the glute that the knee is on the floor is gently squeezing forwards to get a good stretch into the front of that quad. A few more. Last one. With all of these, if you feel particularly tighter on one side, just spend a little bit longer on that side. There's no magic answer as to how many times or how long you do it for. Depends how tight you're feeling. If you feel tight, go for a bit longer. Okay, so back to that 4-point kneeling. Then taking the knee, let's go left knee in towards your chest, out to the side, and push back, making sure we're not kicking the chair behind me. So knee in, out to the side, push back. Trying to keep my hips level, so trying to keep my hips facing down towards the floor, and trying to make sure I'm not shifting my weight too much on the knee that's on that side. But it doesn't matter too much at the moment, we're just in our warm-up, so we're just loosening things up. This time as we push back, let's try and go a little bit higher. So that's the line of my body. My leg wants to be higher than the line of the body, but not by arching my lower back. So if I think about that pelvis again, I want that pelvis to stay in a neutral position rather than arching through. Okay, so we're kind of drawing the knee up, out to the side, core engaged as that leg goes back behind us. Let's do 2 more of those. Last one. Lovely, exactly the same on the other side. So knee in, out to the side, push back. Kicking the wall, so I'm just moving over. So again, trying to take that leg a little bit higher behind you as you push back, behind the line of the body, kicking the chair. Good work. So hopefully everything's starting to loosen up, things are starting to engage, feeling those glutes starting to engage. Let's take it into our first exercise, which is going to be clams. So line on your side. I would go head down rather than up like that. Line on your side, make sure your knees are stacked on top of each other, and then you're opening up the top leg, making sure that as you open up, you're not rolling backwards. So you should be feeling it here. If you put your hands on your hips, where your thumb is, roughly that's where we want to feel it working. The bit at the top is where we're getting the most work. So make sure that you're not just going up to there and dropping down and spending most of your time down here. Up to the top, pause for a second at the top, and then back down, making sure that as you open up, that you're not rolling backwards. So take a look as your knee drops back down again. Is your top knee on top of the bottom knee, or has it come all the way back there? Come the way back there, you've shifted back too much. So I would almost say lean into the mat. So slightly just lean down into the mat to really make sure we've got that glute working at the side there. So we're about halfway through on this side. Now there's lots of discussion about whether we should be doing exercises which are more kind of functional, that represent what we're doing as we're moving, as we're in this case running. And I definitely believe we need to be able to use those muscles in the way that we need to use them when we're running, but often we need to just start off with some of these activation exercises like this, just to get those muscles functioning, to get them kicking in. Swap onto the other side. Then once we've woken them up, once they've remembered what their job is, then certainly we can go on to some other stuff where we're going to use them in a more functional way. So these, I often talk about it, sorry if you're absolutely sick of hearing it, but we often find that our glute muscles are kind of turned off. We don't use them enough because we're sitting at a desk all day. We're not using our glute muscles and we get tight hips because we're sitting with our legs bent at a 90-degree angle. Can't really demonstrate that, but so we get tight at the front because we spend most of our time with our hips closer to us. You carry on, I'm not demonstrating this very well. So, you carry on with your clams. This is me with my hips open. If I'm sitting like this, I'm spending most of my time with this angle much more closed, and our body adapts to what we ask it to do regularly. So it goes, oh, you want me to be like this, so it gets nice and tight here, so that we keep that sort of 90-degree angle there. If we've got tight hips, we struggle to engage our glutes. From here, let's go into, so I want you on your back, thinking about engaging through the core, one knee up, one leg down, and then we're just coming up and down. Now we're staying relaxed. We're not trying to really force it through here, and we're certainly not using our neck muscles. So if you're feeling it in your neck, don't worry about what's going on here. It's not how high my head gets. It's not about reaching through with my neck there. It's about working through the core here. So focus on using the core, only come up as far as that core muscle is allowing you to. Focus on relaxing the neck. Just swap the knees over. So yeah, what I was saying before was just if we have tight hips, we end up with our glutes getting turned off. So we need to relax the hips, we need to loosen up the hips, so that's a lot of what we were doing in the warm-up. And then we need to remind the glutes what their job is. Then we can start doing those more functional exercises. That was a rush through things. I hope that makes some sense. I'll rabbit on about it, no doubt, another time. So up to standing, we're going into balance. So we're standing on one leg and we're just moving our arms and legs around in a kind of running man or running person action. Trying to, put my foot down already, trying to see if we can do the whole minute without, lost it now, without putting our foot down. So the rest of you have the benefit that you're not trying to watch yourself on a video with one mirrored and one not mirrored, which always messes with my brain. But anyway, so it doesn't matter too much what your running technique is. We're not looking at the running technique here. We're looking at creating some movement. You can even start doing whatever you want. We're just challenging that sense of balance. We're moving the parts around where that balance is anchored to really challenge the balance and therefore develop our balance. Lovely. Let's swap onto the other side. Now, in terms of our balance, think about what you're planting into the floor. So your foot is that primary part of the balance. Make sure that you're not screwing up your toes. For some strange reason, when we start to lose our balance, I guess we're trying to grip onto the floor. And if we haven't got shoes on, there's some logic to that. But if we have got shoes on, there's really very little logic. What we want to do is make that foot as helpful to us balancing as we can. So let's go into mixing it about a bit. So we want to think about big toe, little toe, heel, that tripod of support. That is what is growing into the floor, giving us that balance of that support. Then think about using your glutes. They are our stability muscles and our core. So all these muscles are helping to stabilize us, helping to balance us. And balance is the theme for today. So we're taking that a little bit further now into some more stability work, but we're certainly challenging those balance muscles. So we're going into a compass single leg squat. So as we come forwards with the foot, out to the side, back behind us. So we're just doing a single leg squat, staying on that same side, but you'll feel it in a slightly different way with your foot in each of those positions. So you're tapping forwards, out to the side, back behind you. Let me just show you from the side. What I want you to think about is sitting back into a chair. So as I'm doing that squat, it's not about my knee coming forward like that. It's about my hips going back behind me. So the knee's only coming forwards a little bit. Most of the movement is the hips going backwards. And you'll find it easier on that one where the leg goes back behind you. So hopefully, if you're getting those hips going back behind you, you're feeling this in your glute, not just in your quad. So swapping sides now, exactly the same. We tend to be very quad dominant. We tend to favour our quad muscles here because, again, as I was saying at the beginning, we often have our glutes kind of turned off, and so our quads, we sort of default to using our quads. If the glutes aren't working, we use our quads instead. So we're trying to train our bodies here. Yes, you'll be feeling your quads, your thigh muscles, but we want to be using those glute muscles at the back as well, your bum muscles. So imagine you're sitting back into that chair as we go. Also looking at that front knee and making sure, and I can see a bit of a wobble in mine there, we want that front knee, as we come down, to point forwards, not to be collapsing in. Hips, we want to stay level, and knee point forward. Lovely. From there, very similar, we're just taking a little bit further. So we're going into a lunge, show you side on, going into a lunge and then a step up. So, or step up, lunge back, step up, whoop, lunge back. Now, better demo this time hopefully. Working that balance, so holding that step up for a second or so. We're not just taking it up like that and back. That's good in terms of power, but it's not working the balance. So as we step up, holding that balance, working those balance muscles, working that glute particularly, on the standing leg side. Making sure with our lunge, we're looking to make about a square. So see that square shape there? We don't want the knee going too far forwards. We want to make sure the front heel stays on the floor, which again is about getting those posterior chain muscles working, glutes essentially, rather than it just being all about the quads. One more on this side. Lovely, and then exactly the same on the other side. So step up and back. Holding it for that second at the front. So working through, I can definitely feel the glute working on that balancing leg side, using that glute to stabilize. About 20 seconds longer, 20 seconds longer on this side. Making sure that we're keeping our back nice and straight. So imagine that helium balloon holding you up, making your neck nice and tall. One more on this side. Lovely. So back to the beginning. If you have a band, we're going into a band walk now. If you haven't, just stick with the clams that we did at the beginning. If you're doing the band walk, I tend to put it just below my knees. We're going to do a few like a clam, opening out. So again, getting those muscles there working. Now remember, this bit, that opening out, like opening out a book, is the bit where the glutes work. Don't just think it's not about going up and down, it's not about the knees just coming out. We're opening out from here as if we're opening a book. Okay, then stay in that open position and let's go walking forwards and backwards. Keeping the knees out. So making sure you're not letting the knees collapse in. Keep opening out as if you're opening a book. Clam people will tell you when you're halfway. Try and make sure that as you do this band walk, keep thinking about opening out. Try and make sure you're not going out with your feet too much though. Feet want to be roughly parallel, so facing forwards as you open out from there. So it's not about the feet going out to open out, it's about that opening out from here. Get those glute muscles, those stability muscles on the side working. Clam people, swap sides. Take it a bit wider if you need to. And turning it into a bit more of a push. So push back. And now push forwards. As you push, don't let it then collapse in. So push out, keeping those knees out. Don't let the knees collapse in. Nearly there. Lovely, good work. Band off. Into side plank. You can go bent arm or straight arm. I'm going bent arm. Straight arm works your core harder, but I find it also just makes your shoulder a lot more tired. So we want it to be more about working through the core than just getting that shoulder tired. Feet either stacked on top of each other, or I tend to go top foot in front. If you want your arm up, you can go arm up. If you want to make it a little bit harder, I'll tell you when we're 30 seconds in, and then we can make it a little bit harder for the last bit. If you need to take a break on any of these, as always, work to your level. So if it feels too hard, then just take a break, then come back in. So 30 seconds to go. If you want to, take that top leg out to the side and just hold it there. Or you can go into a running man at the top if you want. Got 15 seconds to go. Running person, sorry, I keep on saying that. So I can feel my glute working there as well. Glutes are part of our core, but it should definitely mostly be about those side muscles through your tummy. Swapping onto the other side, exactly the same, onto the elbow and up. So again, top foot just in front, otherwise I find that my foot's just crushing through the bottom foot. If you want your arm up in the air, absolutely fine. Making sure, as always with all exercises, but particularly as with all core exercises, making sure you keep on breathing. Nice big belly breathing. You definitely don't want to be in a situation where you can only really effectively engage your core by holding your breath, because that's not going to work for running. From there, I'm just going to go onto the mat, otherwise I'm going to slip. From there, if you want to, we can take that top leg up. It's definitely my weaker side. I can feel myself trying to hold my breath there, trying to use other muscles, so make sure we're keeping that straight line all the way through. Don't let yourself collapse down. Take a break if you need to. We've got about 5 seconds to go. Come on, guys, you can do it. Whew. Lovely, good work. Okay, from there, back to balance again. So this time, standing on one leg, and we're going to take the other knee, woo, let's get our balance. We're going to take the other knee out in front, trying to keep it about 90 degrees. It's a good one for strengthening the hip as well, but that's not our main focus. And then from there, we're going to start turning our head side to side. I am not good at this one. Remember what we've talked about, plant that foot. So don't screw up the toes. Use that big toe. That big toe is so important for our balance, but so often we sort of scrunch it up and don't use it. So use the big toe. Think about it, those of you who know what I mean by doming, so getting that arch muscle to work in the bottom of your foot. Think about using that arch muscle as well. So think about that arch of your foot coming up towards you, engaging the arch. That doesn't mean screwing up your toes to get the arch coming up. If it's not making sense, don't worry. Google it after this session. If you do know what I'm talking about though, get that arch working. Oh, lovely. Onto the other side. So knee up. Get your balance centered. And then when you're ready, head going side to side. So this is much harder because our sense of balance relies on our body understanding where we are in space. And because we're changing where we're looking, our body's constantly having to reconfigure where is the body in relation to what it can see. You know, whenever you do any balance work, they always say to fix on one thing to hold your balance. Well, this is doing the exact opposite of that. But it's challenging us to develop our balance, and balance is so important for runners. We are essentially doing a one-legged activity, one after the other, as we run. And the better our balance is, the better our control of our body is, but also the less risk we've got. If you imagine if you're running along, say on a sort of country path and it's a bit uneven, I'll interrupt myself there and come down. Let's go into, so from there we are going into, imagine you've got 3 things on the floor. So let me just set it up with that. You don't need to have actual things, you can just imagine it. And from there, we're going to come down in a hinge to touch down to the floor. Whoop, balance gone already. In front, and then to those 2 side positions. Now this is primarily a glute exercise. So we're again hinging at the hips, and our hips are coming back behind us. If we can make it a balance exercise at the same time, so trying not to put that other foot down, brilliant. But if you need to, go for it. I'd far rather that you're getting the glute engaging than keeping your balance at all costs, but not getting the glutes going. Thinking about as you go, making sure that that knee points forwards. So particularly the one where you reach across your body, that knee's going to want to collapse in there. Think about using the glute there to keep the knee pointing forwards. And as I was saying last time when we were doing the compass single leg squat, thinking about the hips coming back behind you. So if I just show you from the side, as I reach down, whoop, as I reach down, I fall over. As I reach down, hips are going back behind me. My knees staying pretty much where it was. So swapping sides now. So that front knee wants to be staying, oh, you just saw it collapse in there. So wants to be pointing straight forwards. not collapsing across the body. And again, if I show you from the side, get that other leg out of the way. So this knee is staying where it is rather than coming forwards. So it's not like that. I hinge at the hips, knee stays where it is, hips go backwards. Got about 20 seconds to go. So what I was saying before, I keep on interrupting myself, is if you were running along that country path and the ground's uneven and you slightly lose your footing, you slightly roll over on your ankle, what's going to determine whether you fall down that hole and properly roll the ankle or whether you just manage to get your balance back is that sense of balance. So the better our balance is tuned in, the less likely we are to have those accidents. Okay, into, oh, this is one which I'm not going to do well on. So we're going into another back lunge. We're going back to the lunge, and then as we come up, no we're not, we're lunging to the side, back to the front. Staying on one leg. You can put your hands on your hips if you prefer. So turning 90 degrees towards the leg that's going backwards. Whoop. Hard one. So again, by changing our gaze, our centre of direction, we're just challenging that balance a bit more. Think about, as you go, making sure that your feet, imagine you're on train tracks, so the feet want to be hip width apart. So you don't want to be just on a tight rope like that. That's going to make it really hard as you do that twist. So keep the feet hip width apart as you come down. Whoo. All the same things to be thinking about with your lunges. Making sure that you're keeping that square at the front, that front knee isn't pointing too far forwards. So think about the knee staying over the ankle, not going over to the toe. As you add in that rotation at the back. A few seconds more on this side. Lovely, swap sides. This is also about getting some mobility into the upper back, but I certainly wouldn't do this primarily as a mobility in the upper back exercise. There's too many other things going on there to make it too hard. But in terms of that, think about keeping your hips facing forwards. The rotation is coming through that upper back. So exactly the same as we did in the warm-up at the beginning. The rotation comes from the upper back rather than from down here. In terms of our back, we generally want this lower back to stay quite stable. We're not looking for more mobility in the lower back. What we want is mobility in the upper back. If we don't have enough mobility in the upper back, we end up with the lower back compensating, but that is not what we want to be aiming for. Good work. So back to the beginning. If you have a band, stick it on just above the knees. If you haven't got a band, no worries at all. If you've got a cushion, you might want to stick it under the knees. So we're going into our fire hydrants. I think you know by now why they're called that. So knees coming out to the side. We're staying on one side as we lift up that knee. Let me just show you from the front. So that knee's coming out to the side, trying to make sure that this knee and hip that are staying on the ground, or knee on the hip, no, knee on the ground, you know what I mean, that wants to stay still. So rather than shifting your weight over to that side as you come up, supporting knee and hip stay where they are as the other one move. If you haven't got a band, absolutely fine, you're still going to be working quite hard where you are. Now again, think where the work is being done on this exercise. It's at that top bit there. So make sure you're not just coming up and back down and spending all your time down here. This is where you're working. So raise out, hold it for a second at the top there before coming back down. You should primarily be feeling it on the working leg side, the moving leg side, but you're definitely, well, probably, particularly if you have a band on, going to be feeling it on the stable leg as well. Good work, swapping onto the other side, because you're having to stabilise through that other side. So out to the other side, exactly the same, thinking about the hip that's on the ground or the knee that's on the ground. Hip stays stable above that rather than shifting out to the side. Holding it a little bit longer at the top position. So these glutes, these side glute muscles, these are the really important ones for stability. These are the ones that hopefully helping to keep that knee tracking forwards in front of you. So when you're running, but also when we've been doing these single leg squats and lunges, these glutes, these guys here, are the ones that are helping to control that movement, stopping the knee from collapsing into the middle. So we need to get them activated, we need to get them working, we need to get them stronger, but we need to get them remembering what their job is. So it wouldn't be good enough just to do these exercises on the floor. That's why we then need to add in stuff like lunges, single leg squats, so that we practice doing it in a moving situation. Lovely, band off. And into a plank. So again, your choice of straight arm or bent arm. If you know you can't hold a plank for the minute, maybe you want to go for your dead bug. So dead bugs lying on your back and then lowering one leg down towards the floor, either further away from you to make it harder or just tapping down near to you to make it easier. Thinking about keeping that neutral pelvis and not arching out through the lower back. Keep that pelvis neutral. If you're happy to go into a plank, let's join in on a plank now. So either bent arm or straight arm, your choice. Making sure you're keeping that straight line from the shoulders down to the heels. So no bum waving in the air, no hips sagging down, just a straight line all the way through. When we've got 30 seconds to go, I'll give you an option to make it a little bit harder if you want. Lovely, so 30 seconds to go. If you want to, you can start lifting one leg. Either just stick on the legs if you want to make it even harder. One arm. If you want to make it harder still, arm and leg diagonally. You can try doing both at the same side, but I don't think you'll get too far. Now as you do this, really focus on keeping those hips still in the middle. If your hips are swaying all the way side to side, regress it back, maybe just to the 1 foot, 1 foot. Lovely, last pair, or last whatever it is you're raising. Good work. Back to balance. So this time, standing on one leg and writing the alphabet with the other foot. So I do not care. People always ask upper or lowercase. I don't care. Just doing the alphabet means you can kind of monitor how far you've got. Now, when you get to, I've forgotten my alphabet already. When you get to H, I want you to shut your eyes. So again, we're making it harder, challenging that balance by taking away the brain's ability to see where we are, to create our space, our place in space. And it's got to work much harder just to use the foot and all the other sort of parts of your body to sense where it is. So challenging our balance more, making it harder. Now again, going back to that functional side of things, no, I'm not proposing that you're going to go out running with your eyes shut. You might well be doing a night run. But again, drills, we work harder than hopefully we need to in real life so that we are more able to do the easier stuff on race day, or particularly as we get more fatigued and things get harder. Lovely, swapping onto the other side. So starting off with your eyes open, into that alphabet. And then again, when you get to, it's always the F that I get mixed up on my alphabet. When you get to the G, shutting your eyes and carrying on with your eyes shut. If you put your foot down, that's fine. Just restart where you are. Just keep working through the alphabet. Be aware if one leg's harder than the other. This is a really good one to do while you're brushing your teeth. Don't end up stabbing yourself with a toothbrush with your eyes shut, but just something you can do while you're brushing your teeth. And if you know one leg's harder, you're less good on one side than the other, that's the one you want to practice on. If you've ever twisted your ankle in the past and then you stopped using that foot for a bit because you knew it hurt, you may well have not redeveloped your sense of balance on that side. So often we have a much weaker side that we're completely unaware of until we start doing something like this and realise we really don't have good balance on one side. And then that makes us more vulnerable to more accidents in the future because we haven't got that good balance, and again we're running along that muddy path, lose our balance, and we go over on the ankle again. So it's really important to keep rebuilding those stronger ankles. Okay, from here, let me show you sideways on. So you're going to stand on one leg, you're going to take one knee up, and then you're going to tip forwards. And ideally, let me get a chair out. So this can be a balance exercise, but if you can't, if you're losing your balance, then just get a chair, back of the chair in front of you. So let me show you again, knee up and tip. Knee up, I'm losing my balance before I even got to the tipping bit, and tip. I'm kicking a turbo trainer behind me. So try and move any things that might be in the way around you. Okay, so I'm just going to move forwards a bit, stop kicking the turbo. Join in. Ideally, we're trying to get to that flat position. So I call this one aeroplane. Imagine you're aeroplaning away. But don't worry too much, but do think about protecting the back, so making sure we're not arching through as that leg comes out behind us, exactly as we were talking about in the warm-up. If you're feeling tight in your hamstrings, give them a stretch now, just to loosen up so you've got that range of motion to go back behind you. So this is an all over working your balance, working through the glutes, working through the core. Lovely, one more on this side. Oh, that was a not very stable aeroplane there. So knee up and onto the other side. So do use that chair if you need to, even if it's just there so that you know it's there if you need it. Trying to get that leg up high on the other side, so I can feel my hamstrings definitely tighter on this side. Definitely feeling that more as I tip forward on the back of my standing leg. "20 seconds to go. Oh, definitely need to work more on my balance. Good, last one on this side. If I can do it. Lovely, perfect. And now we're going into lunges. Now, if you've got a small weight, and it really doesn't have to be a heavy weight, this isn't about strength, could be a bottle of water, could be a kettlebell, whatever you've got to hand. And if you haven't, don't worry. But if you've got something, we're just going to hold it above us. So as we go into our lunges, like I say, it can be a bottle of water, whatever, we're going to go forwards and backwards with that arm up above us. It's not about strength through that the weight that's up in the air. It's about creating that imbalance because we've got something taller than us that's creating that imbalance above us. So you carry on while I'm just clearing some space. If you've got a kettlebell, depending on how heavy it is, this is just a light one, holding it upside down is creating even more imbalance, and that's working through the shoulder girdle, so creating some stability through the shoulder. So carry on. But if it's too heavy and you just want to hold it like that, absolutely fine. So a few more on that side, and then we're going to swap sides. Lovely. So onto the other side. So, sorry. Doesn't matter too much. I would say it's a little bit easier if the weight is in the moving leg, in the hand of the arm that's on the moving leg side. If you need to put your foot down in the middle, that's fine. If you can go all the way through, working that balance, even better. Keeping it slow and controlled. I can feel my shoulder on this side is a lot weaker than my shoulder on the right side, so It's a lot harder holding that bottom up kettlebell on this side than the other side. If you haven't got a kettlebell but you've got a weights plate, again, you could do that just holding on to the side of the weight plate. Again, it's just creating that stability or forcing that stability into the shoulder girdle. Lovely, good work, guys. I promise you haven't been on the booze. Definitely losing my balance a bit by the end there. Good work. So let's take it into some stretching. Lying on your back, crossing one foot onto the opposite thigh, drawing the thigh in towards you. Feeling that stretch into the bent leg side. A few deep breaths there. Circle the foot round on the bent leg side, just slow circles, feel that stretch moving around. Onto the other side. If you're interested in any one-to-one PT sessions or you aren't quite sure but you want a quick chat, see if I can help you with turbo training, triathlon training, PT sessions, whatever, if you go to my Facebook page, Feel For It Lucy, you'll find a book now button on there so you can book PT sessions, you can book a quick 15-minute consultation to chat about what your goals are and whether I can help you with it. So go through to Feel For It with Lucy on Facebook and you can book on there. Let's take it into stretch. Emily, if you're still watching, this one's for you. So into your pigeon stretch, so foot out to the front there, lying down, getting that stretch through there. See, trying to keep your hips even, sorry, hips level, so don't just reach over to the side of the knees up. Hips level and then just slowly lowering down into the mat. Imagine just melting into the mat. Some of you will be right up here, some of you will be way flatter than me. Don't worry, just wherever you are, just relaxing into it. A few deep breaths, so each breath you take as you breathe out, just see if you can relax out a little bit more, breathing into the tightness. Lovely, swapping onto the other side, so knee out across, hips level, and again just deep breaths, breathing out, trying to breathe into the tightness, feeling it relax. Lovely, and from there, let's just go lean, bums onto your heels, or as close down to the heels as they go. Hands down, walk your fingers out in front of you, so imagine the fingers are walking away from you as far as they'll go, feeling that stretch through the upper back. A few deep breaths into the rib cage, feel that stretch through, and then if you walk your right hand over onto the left hand, and a few more deep breaths, so breathing into the ribcage. So if you've got your right hand on top of the left hand, you should be feeling a stretch down the right side. Deep breath into to fill the ribcage on the right side. And then swap, so right hand's out in front of you, left hand walks over on top. So now we've got a stretch down the left side, and again, deep breath in to the ribcage, filling the ribcage, feeling that stretch on the left side. Good work, guys. Give yourself a round of applause. Hope you enjoyed the session. Hope you've got some learnings in terms of things you might need to work on in terms of your balance. I certainly did. Very good to see you all, and I hope to see you again either 1 o'clock on Thursday or next Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Have a great week, and I will see you soon.